Hi, everyone. It's
Hi, Lion.
you here, May of 2024. Well, so today we're going to work on the 4 pages. But before we do, I just wanted to give a shout out because so many of us, well, 4 out of 5 of us met through Vincent Pitisci's
Yes.
gatherings. And as some of you may know, and there's so many of Vince's people that watch this, but some of you may not have heard that on May 7th, he passed away from a short illness. And so it's been really devastating because a couple of weeks before he left us, he posted that he was going to start his gatherings again. So it was really quite a shock to have not, to have that happen. So there's and Yvonne, why don't you start by just explaining what your plan is for the Conceptual Blending and Tarot Facebook group. And you're going to continue on his legacy of gathering. Can you just briefly explain that so people who are watching this will know where to go?
Sure. Sure. So, yeah, like I was saying, it's uh, losing our mentor, our friend, Vince was, well, there are no words. But in his honor, we're going to continue. I have decided to continue doing the gatherings so that we can all meet and still discuss tarot and talk about the things that Vince has left as a legacy to us. So I'm going to do this gathering on the 28th of May. That would be next Tuesday, and it's going to be at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And what I'm doing is I'm adding a link, an invite on the Conceptual Blending page, Facebook page. So if you're not a member or if you've not joined our page, please do, so that this way you can access this virtual gathering that we're going to do. And you might want to bring a glass because at the end, I intend to raise a glass in honor of Vince. I think he would like that.
Thanks.
Anyway, that's what I have. So the 28th of May, next Tuesday, on our Conceptual Blending Facebook page. Again, if you've not joined, please join so that this way you can join us. And maybe, we'll be recording it and then we'll share it with his wife, Linda, his widow.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So we're talking about the pages today, and we decided to talk about all 4 of the pages together. And as I think that from what I gather and from previous conversations that we had, D and Kate, you both seem to, the go-to for you seems to, with these pages, all of them seems to be as messages. For me, my standard go-to is typically a change in direction. It can be a message. And for me, it kind of signals more of a change in direction for me. I don't know about you, Anne Marie. Do you have like an overall theme for that you think when you see a page? Is there an overall theme no matter which page it is?
I'm inclined to go with a new path, a new way of looking at things, and maybe a new way of looking at an idea that you've had for a while and heading a following on a different direction, going on a new path after this idea that you've already had.
Okay. How about you? How about you, Yvonne?
Yeah, for me, the pages are about growth, and of course, it's about direction. And when you go into a new direction, obviously you're growing. And yeah, of course, there's messengers of a sort. They're also, to me, they're related to the elements. Just whatever the page, whatever suit that page is. I take into consideration the element that's also connected to that. So yeah, that's what I see with the pages.
Yeah, it's interesting because we all kind of we all kind of look at them differently, a little differently, but yet at the same time, I think the one thing about the court cards, people are so confused by them, but really, I think they carry a theme through each court card. So all the queens, all the kings, all the, I think that they make it easy. But the one question, the one problem that I have always had is with any of the court cards is how do you tell when it's a person or when it is an attribute that either it is the querent right now, or an attribute that the querent needs to become or do in order to progress through like a reading. So how do you guys do that? Do you guys have a system for that?
In some
Depends on the
respects,
question. I'm sorry.
Yes, I agree.
in some respects that I do, in that, I mean, I look at the pages as being embryonic energy of their suit, right? So the Page of Swords is going to mature and develop into the King of Swords. But right now he's very immature. So he doesn't have the nuance, he doesn't have the subtlety, he doesn't have the experience or the wisdom that goes with the king. And so I think I take it from that kind of energy. They're all very enthusiastic and they're all very kind of bold in their own way, except maybe the Page of Pentacles. But they have that exuberance that comes with youth, but they lack the subtlety of like the fully matured energy that you would see in the king. So that's kind of how I approach them in that respect. And as to whether or not it is a person or not, sometimes it will just come up and it is so obviously a person as opposed to an attribute. I did a reading this morning on Donald Trump's month of June, right? And the King of Swords came up in the shadow card. And I looked at it and it just hit me. Yep, that's Jack Smith, right? So to me, whether it's a person or an attribute, a personality characteristic, I think just comes, I suppose, from what's around the rest of the card. But it just popped into my mind as clear as a bell.
Yeah, that's kind of how I'd see it too. If I kind of let spirit lead me into, I'm not seeing in my third eye. I will see it as a person will pop up right away.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm confused, if a person doesn't pop up, then I have to start looking at what kind of attribute,
Yeah.
Based on the situation. How about you, Dee?
Well, pages that can be annoying for me as well, how they kind of throw in there. And maybe it's just for me to get an excuse to throw out clarifier. But I have to, me, I have to look at them as, and I don't know where I got this from or what they are, but to me, they, of course, none of the students, I put them at the age of maybe 14 or 15. I'm thinking that's the kind of thought that's there. But it also says to me, keep it light, get to pick their brains to see just how they would fashion the question, besides other cards being on either side. I always feel that their lives are just full of leisure because they haven't been through the mud and the muck of all kinds of life yet. So it's good to find out where they sit and just where they really want me to look and see where this is going. Besides them each being part of an element and what their key meanings are, I just feel it as an opportunity to throw ding, 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 ding. The pages, you're being paged. You're being paged. Look at that. There's somebody who wants you. You need that information. So that's how I look at it.
That's kind of funny because, it paints a real great picture, but it's kind of funny because if you consider the pages a message, if that's the first thing that pops up in your mind is, ooh, there's a message coming through, that boom, boom, boom. See, I'm not going to be able to unforget that now.
Sorry.
As you're being paid.
Yeah.
Like you're being paged. That's, oh my God, one more thing in my brain. And how about you? Do you?
Yeah, with the pages. Well, I was thinking about this, and so, I was thinking about the aces and the pages, because aces bring, it's the universe offering up, opportunity, and then, so to make it easier for people to maybe help out with the pages, it's like, well, like the aces, they are too bringing, up an opportunity. It's not the universe because the aces represent the universe, right? Um, but I think it's more like they're offering up growth. They're offering up, there's an opportunity here. There's a message that there's an opportunity to go for something, whatever the question is. So you look at the card, you look at the suit and the question, and yeah, okay, it is an opportunity for growth, to look at something a different way. Maybe you've been presented with, maybe you have been presented by the ace, you know, and you don't know what to do with it, or maybe you've not paid attention to whatever is being offered up by the universe. Well, the page is coming and saying, pay attention, pay attention. This is an opportunity for you to make the choice to grow or not, because it is a choice, right? But yeah, I like the pages. And I also see the pages, I think Emery, or maybe it was you, Pat, that we're talking about how in the court, if you want to learn about, or you want to get a better handle on the pages, think about the cards before it, the 1 through 10, the ace through 10, and think about the cards afterwards, because I mean, it all leads up to, the king, right? The final card in the courts. So yeah, beginning and ending. So I don't know. I mean, that's how I see them. I see them as new beginnings as well. Opportunity.
See, I think this is a true beginning. And so for me, the page is more of a progression than a beginning.
Unless if you've not paid attention.
But
If you've
Right.
been messing around this whole time, that's like, ace, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it finally gets to the page. So, it's like, okay, that's the whole thing. Yeah. If you've not been paying attention, the pages are there to say,
Yeah.
no,
in that vein, you can, with the Page of Swords, you can kind of see him in the card standing up and brushing himself off after the 10, So,
so much thought to it. I mean, so much thought to the pages, because I mean, yes, it could be a person, it could be, but all in all, the pages represent youth. And whether it's a young, whether it's a fresh idea, or, a fresh beginning, or maybe you're just, getting a makeover. I don't know.
yeah, money.
But youth is beauty, right?
Yes.
And so there's a beauty in these cards. So
Mhm.
I think, have I made everybody more confused?
Well,
No. And you see what happens with a page if you get a major arcana. So you have this page that says, here's a message. And then you get temperance. It's like, oh my gosh. I'm all upset about this message, but then temperance says, slow down. It's like, and I'm not good at that. So here we go. I'm already
Exactly.
ruffled.
Exactly.
I like it.
So Dee, speaking of major art,
Oh,
so you get you have like the Page of Wands, and it comes up with the Hierophant.
mhm.
So how do you see that, or how does anybody see that?
With the Hierophant? Well, you want my first reading? Okay, Lynn, here we go. What is a Page of Wands? Basically, well, I'm not going to take it as a child. It's based on, I'm going to get a call from the government. How's that?
And yay,
Some establishment. I'm going to get a call from Fairview, my clinic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I look at that as. But not to take it and just take care of the matter. It's just a small one. But it's something I have to look into. That's how I do. That's how I would look at that for me, without a question or anything at it. But if it goes to, let's say, a cup, then it's like, okay, it's going to make me cry, maybe. Or if I got to the sword, it's going to be like, who is causing issues? Who do I need to just kind of rip into? Maybe. But that's how I look at those pages. It triggers it triggers me more into where am I going with it? And then here comes the clarifier. Woohoo.
Well,
Where am I going?
because didn't you say every time you get a page, you pull 3, you take it off on it, you give it its own direction?
Yeah, because I want to find out just what it's really pertaining to. I usually throw 3.
Well, but the reason why I ask is because I also see them as new projects. So I was thinking about the Page of Wands, being passionate and
Mhm.
project. And if you put them up against the Hierophant, which one of its meanings is conformity to tradition and to establishment. And I was thinking it could be, it could be challenging an established routine, for example, having a new project at work and going up management, wanting to do your own direction. So
I'll be
with the-
sick on that day. Lynn,
Yeah.
I'm going to be sick on that day.
or I think with the Hierophant and the Page of Wands, it could be asking you, where is in the situation we're talking about? Where's your energy in this situation? Are you following the right direction? Are you doing things properly? Is there some other path you could be taking that would give you a better result? So I would be thinking that way. Use your energy more productively by doing it the right way, finding out the right way to do it without wasting your energy and getting nowhere,
that's
taking
a
your direction.
reality of that.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh,
that's
go ahead.
good.
So if we're looking at the pages as a whole, as being a new direction, as being the start of something, or the progression of something, or if we're looking at as a message, how does that bode when it's reversed, or when it's for those of you that don't use reversals, I don't use
I
reversals.
don't get you.
I like to look at the shadow side of cards.
Which really, for me, and I do read books of reversals, but really, what you call the shadow side is just that's how it presents when I'm doing it. If it's reversed, I'm looking at that end of the spectrum, and it is a spectrum, right? Or if it's upright, I'm looking at this end of the spectrum, and it comes, that sort of thing. So, like, for example, what you just had there with the Page of Wands. It's very action oriented. It's very enthusiastic at one end, but on the other side, it can be very impulsive and, or gets bored easily and walks away. So that's that continuum that yeah.
Interesting. Anybody else on that? On the on negative side or the shadow side, or
Now, I think it all boils down to the question really, and the cards that are around it.
that's true.
That you're going to see. You're not going to have to think about it. You're going to see what's happening and the story that's unfolding for you, and you won't have to think shadow or good or bad. It will fall into place.
Right.
I think. I think pages, as just when you were asking about pages, when I thought about them earlier, I see the pages as dreamers, people who are not yet wound up in all the ideas. I think someone mentioned it earlier, not wound up in all the ideas and beliefs and dogma that we're tied up with. So they have a chance they're following their gut more. As I was saying earlier about the Fool is is the page, the master page. He's prepared to follow his gut, to take a wild leap and see what happens. And looking at the pages, I think they're the same idea, that they are prepared to listen to their gut more, listen to their inner voice. And that makes them messengers, all right. They could be bringing something about traveling on a new path. And I liked what I felt. I agreed with what Yvonne said earlier about the aces. I feel the ace gives you an opportunity to start something in a particular area. And the page is your second chance. You've had your opportunity, and the page is your wake up call and saying, is there a different path you need to be taking now? Remember what you started. How are you going along with this? Get off this rut that you're in now. Get off this wheel that you're in now and see where you need to be, depending on which ace it is,
That's neat. I like that.
which page it is.
Yvonne earlier talked about the pages as a whole being you.
Yes.
Mm.
Youthful energy. It could be someone older, but who has a youthful energy, has a nice youthful way of looking at things that isn't bogged down as you get older and the different things you take on, the different rules and things you take on. Some people get bogged down and some people maintain this youthful energy. So I see the page, it could fit someone much older, but who has maintained their youthful enthusiasm and energy about life.
And I was asking about whenever I was asking about like the shadow side, and I was thinking on, mentioning about it being youth. And I also, it's funny when you sit down with like a thesaurus and look at different, words, a different range, because they really do conjure up different meanings. And so for me, youthfulness also means immaturity. And so, for example, I may see which is the same thing, but I may see the Page of Cups as being emotionally immature.
Absolutely.
I can pin that on any 40, 50-year-old guy that doesn't want to make a commitment. You know what I mean?
But
I often see the Page of Cups, just as you mentioned it. I often see the Page of Cups as, I don't know if you would call it the new acceptable person. You know, that young chap who's very sensitive and has a lot of feelings and maybe cries about things and feels for people. But that's not what boys are supposed to do. So I see him as being an emotional, sensitive person who's maybe drawing the page is very, very nicely dressed, that maybe he's drawing attention to himself, but he's just emotionally just sensitive, a sensitive chap who maybe, depending on the question, maybe somebody who's getting into trouble for acting more like a girl than a boy, not really moving in that direction, but being softer than a boy should be. So when I see that little Page of Cups, I think, oh, he's a softie, and they're going to land on him for that. He's going to pay for that. That his friends are going to jump on him for that. But he has a really good heart, a lovely, loving energy. But he could be made pay for that.
and I can certainly see that. And what it just reminds me of is that tender-hearted young person who's not emotionally regulated yet. They
Yeah.
haven't had enough, scar tissue added onto their
Mhm.
hearts. That
Right.
is going
Exactly.
to evolve into the King of Cups, who has such a high emotional intelligence. And that's how he communicates with people. I mean, when people hear the King of Cups, they feel that they're heard. They feel that they're making a connection. And that's the strength of the King of Cups. But it has to be originated in that age. That
Yes.
softness that you talk about, that
That's right.
gentleness of heart,
That's
it's
where
the
it starts.
source of the king's emotional intelligence.
And when I look at the Page of Swords, he's always so defensive. He's looking backwards, and yet his body language is moving forward. So I always think, what is there behind him? What is there in the past? What hurt him? What's he afraid of? Or what truth is he afraid of facing? That he's afraid will
What
sneak up
lessons?
and hurt him.
Yeah, or
So-
maybe what lessons have you learned?
Yes.
And don't forget what you've learned. Are you ready? Are you willing to get cut twice?
Mm.
You know,
Once bitten, yeah, twice shy. And
right?
what it struck me about the pages as well, just something came into my mind, that when you move on to the knights are action figures. The queens have their own authority and their own individuality, and the kings have maidens. They're the head honchos. But the page has no authority. He's the dog's body. He's starting at the end of the queue. He is being given orders. All the others can give orders, but he hasn't reached that stage. He is the one who is as low as you can go on the hierarchy of the courts. So I often think when I look at him in a question, I think he has what is the word I'm looking for? That he has no authority of his own. He has opinions, he has dreams, he wants things to happen. He might feel like the King of Wands, that he wants something to happen, and the King of, or I beg your pardon, the Page of Wands. And I see him here in his beautiful outfit, and he's standing on a parched area. So it's as if he's looking forward to the future, and yet feels he has lots of ideas, but he's drained. He's standing in everything. There's nothing coming to him. He's standing in a parched area, and he really wants to move forward. So he's looking at his wand, which has some growth on it, and thinking, hopefully someone give me a way to move forward onto a different path.
Neat.
No, the word conviction keeps coming into my head.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah,
do too.
but that's it. Go ahead, Lee. Okay, go ahead.
Well, no, that's exactly what came to my head too. I thought the
Conviction.
same thing. I know where she was going. Interesting. Something else that I do periodically, if it happens, and that is if I'm doing a reading and I have 2 pages that show up, I'm not so well. I know which each one is throwing at me, but I also put it together as a friendship, and which gives me a different kind of a read. If the question is, am I going to need help with this? Well, you have enough friends there. If I have 3 pages that come into the reading, it means there's lots of social activity, lots of other things to get out there and look at. That's how I take those, because that happens to me a lot where I get more than 1 page in a read. And I don't want to contradict what they do because I want to meld that together. So I just use that little, and I don't know if that's out there, but you know me, I'm just grabbing what I can find there. And that's
And
what makes
maybe
sense to me.
maybe it's telling you as well the fact. Maybe it's bringing forward to you, or reminding you that there's more than one way. There's more than one path available to you. That here are all these new paths. What are you not getting? What path would be more emotionally fulfilling if you see the Page of Cups? Or what are you being over defensive of if you see the page? What's stopping you moving forward? What idea do you have that's holding you back, that's making you too defensive? Or with like the Page of Pentacles, what are you afraid to take your eye off this for a moment? He seems to be totally focused on this. So I think if there are a number of pages as well, you could say, well, so I don't have to focus on just one way forward. Let me think of a few other ways.
Sure. That's great.
And the important, I think, of all of this is so that when we do have them come up in a reading, we have different, we have the knowledge. I mean, what is the difference on all this? It's the having all of that knowledge, tucked away in our little, mental boxes, so that it's there, so that our psyche, if that's how you believe, your intuition or spirit, if that's how you believe, will bring that out, or that's what shows up in your third eye, and it just gives you more options. Yeah, I think that's, for me in everyday reading, it seems that when I do fairs and festivals, I tend to do the Celtic Cross a lot. And the pages always seem to come up as card number 1, right? The subject. When I am reading for a mother with a child issue, it's just something between me and spirit. Spirit just says, hey, if person in front of you has problems with kids, I'm going to put a page in the center for you. And as soon as I see it, I always ask, do you have children at home? Yes. Oh, are you having trouble with one of them? And of course, right away, I've got them right at the beginning, of the reading. But for me, that just seems to come up so much. Is there any particular place or thing that happens for you guys when you're reading? I mean, do you see pages coming up more or less in one or some specific area?
I find they seem to come up again on the Celtic Cross, or on the 9-card spread, the 9-card, whatever you call it. They seem to come up for me on the opportunities or future. They seem to come up there on the right hand side, the extreme. It would be card number 6 on the Celtic Cross.
Yeah.
That's where I find pages come up a lot.
Yeah.
Opportunities to move forward. And what I find about the pages, again, when you, again, looking at the four of them here, they're so vulnerable. Your heart goes out to them and I think you feel you want to help somebody. You want to see, who are they trying to help? What message are they trying to get through? Well, this is what comes to me with the page anyway, that they're vulnerable and they want to be helpful. They don't have enough experience. They don't have enough knowledge, and they don't have any authority over anything, but they're really struggling to make a difference and to get going with life.
So I have a question for you all. Do you find that you read a page differently in different decks? Do they affect you differently? So in my example, just to explain, so here we have the regular, Rider-Waite page. I love the Everyday Witch a deck. I use it quite frequently. And in this particular picture, you can see it's like it's almost as if he's being summoned down a certain path. And that always affects my readings when I'm reading with this particular card, because I see the cat as being something or someone is calling him down a particular path, but be beware, maybe not beware, just be advised that there will be obstacles in that path. And you can see the salamander middle of the path, and I see that as, I see that you're taking a new direction. You can see on the card that he's over here, that he's manifesting with his wand, but he's heading down a path, but he's not looking down. He's looking, across, and that he could stumble on that path there, and that he needs to watch for something. But anyway, that's just one of the things that affects me. I'm just wondering if anybody else, Dee, I know you use a lot of different cards. Do you find that, or does anybody find that they are more, they're led in a kind of a different direction sometimes because of the deck that you choose?
I do end up with that. You and I just discussed this Tarot of the Mystical Moments, which, those cards. I mean, here is my Page of Swords. All right, my Page of Swords on that, when you look at that, and, basically you think of the pages like we've talked about, opportunity for growth, change in direction, things like that. This is someone's interpretation of that. I love it. To me, it just stands right up to the dandelion is the best. What do we do with dandelions? Come on, dig them out, get rid of them. But this one, we just let grow and let our feelings fly into the world. I mean, every one of these cards comes up with another interpretation. Oh, Page of Wands, the eyeglass, take a closer look. And what is the eye?
Just
Can you see it?
there you go. Just because it's, yes.
In the shine.
There you go.
It's a message. Take a closer look. Maybe you're going to have a bigger change. To me, these cards really do say a lot. Here's the cups. I got to go the right way. That little fish in the cup. So I do like to really look at those cards and decipher just exactly what am I seeing in them, just because what are the pages? They're ideas. They're something there. It's a message that we need to heed and get the little piece that it's trying to tell us and bring it out.
And aren't they a little bit of permission to be yourself, to have your own ideas,
Yeah.
start new? And I like that idea. And what struck me was, I think Lynn was saying it earlier, the importance of getting a good grounding. We're concentrating here on the Rider-Waite Smith, and we're saying what these cards mean. But we're also told from day one, if you're reading tarot, to look at the cards, look at the colors, see what's jumping out at you. So I think to have the background information here of what the idea was. Is it a new direction? Is it a message of what it is? What is it? And then look at the card that you're reading in the other deck and see, like the dandelion, like the little thing, what's catching your attention there? once you have at the back of your mind what the basis is for that particular card, then you can translate it.
One last one I want to show you. This is from Anna Kay. And with the page of swords, just love this. He is practicing. Check that out. He is practicing on a scarecrow. I just, I just think there's so many fun
learning his craft.
Yes. Learning his craft.
Learning his craft. He's practicing. He's getting ready. And
what are getting ready to move obstacles out of his way. And think
the next step is
going to get
yeah, the next step is night. So it makes sense that
Yes.
he would be
Yes.
I think that anybody have any last words on this subject of night?
Yeah, I kind of want to go back because we were talking, I think, Glenn, you were talking about reversals and a lot of people don't do reversals, but I think, just for whoever's listening, and if you have any confusion about that, it basically take the meaning of the card, the upright meaning, and, just think about the polar opposite of this card, or the meaning of this card. And there you have it. It doesn't have to be in reverse, but, because I think all cards hold both messages.
Yeah.
I agree.
Every time
or looking at the card, ask yourself, knowing the meaning of it, the upright meaning,
right?
And ask yourself, oops, what could go wrong here? What should I be looking out for? If it's reversed, this is the way, this is what I would like to happen. And this is the usual thing. What could go wrong? What could trip me up? Or what's blocking me?
Right. And here's the thing. If it's upright anyway, that message is still there because it's, it could go yin or yang, right? So, the message, the card doesn't necessarily have to be in reverse for it to have.
If it is in reverse, I'd be asking myself, what's going wrong? What could I do here to make this card go back to its original happy self? If it is a happy self.
Right. For me, just once in a blue moon, I do not read reversals, so I don't shuffle them in. And so once in a moon, my gosh and by golly, a card happens to get reversed in my deck and it comes up. I pay attention to it. I mean, I don't just turn it around. It's trying to grab my attention for a reason.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know about you. Listening to that makes me think about when that happens to me. Because, the death card will come up, right? And it's twisted around. And I'm like, okay, I'm holding it and I'm looking at it like, okay, you're upside down, but I'm going to put you right set up, but I'm going to pay attention to how it all connects.
Yes.
Because there's something there. There's a message.
It's just like shuffle in a way. I don't want to say on purpose, but they shuffle in a way that causes cards to fly. And that's the cards that they wanted. That's all they're interested in are the cards that fly out, and it's like, kind of like, that's kind of for you, Dee, right? It's like you have cards fly. You
all the time I have cards fly. But I have to say, when I pull the hangman and it's upright, it's the right way, I always turn him upside down because I want to see what his face looks like. Don't you? And turn it back. That's what I do.
That's funny. Yvonne, we talked to you. You're on. People can find you all day long on the Conceptual Blending and Tarot Facebook group page.
Correct.
And so, and well, most of us, because we're all going to go there. And was there any last thing that you want to say about that?
Yes, one more thing. Thank you for asking. If you decide that you want to join the Conceptual Blending Facebook page, there's a series of questions. There's like 4 questions. Please answer them, because if you don't answer them, you won't get in. I mean, all the questions have to be answered, and they're simple questions, but please, we've had a lot of folks who have been trying to join, and I've been sending messages saying, please answer the questions. So yeah, answer the questions.
And then you, oh my God, you have been on a roll lately with of this crazy American politic crap going on. And of course, those of you that, if anyone's watching that isn't aware of, Kent Tarot Cafe on YouTube, you're a political tarot reader. And wow, you have just,
Well, we're coming into the busy season. Like this is like Christmas coming, right? American presidential elections, and there's so much riding on this one. And there's just like stuff flying out of the universe, left, right, and center. It's hard for the cards to keep up with the news cycle.
Oh my God.
because you really do dumb it down for me. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You take something and you explain it so that, a lot of what's going on, I'd rather just watch you, but I love the cards. I love the way you do that. So people need to go and look at that. Dee, you're going to be starting your festival season soon, right?
Yes. I am going to be working on that. But right now I'm just out and about doing estate sales and finding treasures. So
Nice. Fine. Anne-Marie, anything exciting going on with you?
No, life is going on as usual, and it seems to be very busy. There seems to be very little time to do anything, and I'm not sure what I'm doing in the meantime. But anyway, it's all working out nicely.
Great. Well, then you guys have a great rest of the month, and we'll see you in June.
Hey,
Okay.
see you guys at the meeting.
I'm sorry?
Oh yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
See you at the gathering.
I
All
will
right.
find make it.
Okay. Will do.
Okay, you guys.